Hello, everyone. It's morning where I'm recording this from. So it is Thursday morning. And since doing the other video, before I begin that, so remember in the intro video of myself, I said sometimes I stutter and sometimes I repeat words and I get all discombobulated. So my name is Sharon Dvorak. I am the channel, the vessel for the energy of Peter O'Neill and Ma-Ryah. And today is the day that they're going to do a video of teaching. I have no idea what they're going to present at this point. By the time it gets posted, I will, of course, know because I will have listened to it. So, since I put my first video up, the introduction to the vessel to myself, in that video, I said how afraid I was to take this step and to stop keeping myself small and to allow myself to just be myself, be the vessel, and step forward into the public and presenting the knowledge and the wisdom that Ma-Ryah and Peter have brought into our world all these years since the 1986, the end of the 1986, beginning of 1987, and Ma-Ryah in the early 1990s made contact. So I'm not going to repeat what I had said in the first video of the introduction to myself. However, I do choose to communicate because as you work with the information that you receive from Peter and Ma-Ryah, its transformation occurs within you. You may face some fears. Some of your scripts, some of your patterns are difficult sometimes to transform, to transit them into another script to be carried. And so, of course, since the first two videos actually went up, my ego, my shadows, my fear has been stomping all over me, which is why it has taken me until today to record another session. The goal is for at least 2 or 3 videos, and perhaps sometimes more, a week get posted. And some of them will be shorter than others, and others will be an hour or more. So, in working with the energies, feel what you are able to intuit from the communications. Allow yourself to feel the energy transmitted at the present time when they are communicating so that you are able to know their energy and the love that they bring. So I'm not going to keep talking because I'm going to just deal with the palpitations that I have. So am I afraid to do this still? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Am I doing it? Oh, yeah. So I'm going to step aside and allow them to begin to communicate. God's blessings. This is Ma-Ryah as well as Peter O'Neill from the higher realms of God. So the vessel, she's not kidding when she says how terrified she is of having initiated and begun this part of her journey. So most of the time, the tuning forks are not recording even by the microphone. And we use tuning forks in order to create the balance and harmony where there is discordance. Our world, the seventh universe in the infinite universe, is comprised of music. And in that way, we create harmony and balance. So, better. See how your very language, right away brings it into a state of judgment, as we just spoke the words better, right? Saying and acknowledging that Her energy is more balanced right now. The fear is contained, and she has willingly stepped aside in order not to interfere in our transmission. In case you have not watched the first video that was presented, that we introduced ourselves and explained the difference of Ma-Ryah and Peter and so forth. We are Ma-Ryah from the seventh universe in the infinite universe. Ourselves and Peter O'Neill are energies that choose to step down the frequency of our energy from the infinite realms in order for the vessel to be able to raise her consciousness, raise her frequency, and like dialing in a radio station, getting past the static and so forth until she makes contact so that we are never here. We are not in your world. Our energy, thought produced and thought sent, and connecting to the vessel. So, though over time we have learned through the use of her brain to have movement, to drink, to keep her throat moist. We do not blink. However, it is necessary to keep the human eyes moist. So you will see us often looking down and to the side and such. We have no notes. The vessel has no idea what we are going to speak about until we speak it. We are sending thought. We are connecting to the energy of her brain and sending thought to then be spoken. So we shall begin. There are so many things that we have to speak about, that we have presented to many human beings throughout the years, mostly through a word of mouth, wherever the vessel moved. And she began to do her channeling work, her healing work, and so forth. That word of mouth would bring humans to communicate for their individual private sessions, as well as for group sessions. And the group sessions evolved into teachings, lessons to be learned, lessons to hear, and assignments able to be applied to apply the knowledge and to see how does it benefit your life or not. For if it does not benefit your life, then by all means you do not pick it up and begin to create with it. If you resonate a little bit with it, you might choose to put it on a shelf within the mind so that later on you may take it out again and glimpse at it. So never are you required to accept what we say merely because we say it. You, as human being, you have the absolute gift of free will. So you take what you take and you put aside what you do not resonate with. Everyone resonates according to where you are in your journey. Our reason of communication into your physical world is one, to help you heal your scripts, your patterns, your reactions, your fears, your worries, concerns, your perception of separation, isolation, and rejection and judgment. So, to assist humans from moving from a reactive, fear based energy to a responsive, choosing consciously. What do you choose? How do you choose to respond in conversations with self and others? How do you choose to respond in your community, your town, your countries, your world? How do you identify yourself and acknowledge if someone were to say to you, "Who are you?" Most humans begin by saying what they do as a job. However, that is not what we ask. We are asking, "Who are you?" And to be able to say, "I am." And then to say, if you are a student and you are a seeker, if you are beginning to heal your journey, if you are a human being who merely seeks to gather knowledge, some lifetimes, that is what we call a knowledge gatherer, and will not apply it so much to self, however, will speak of it and share it to so many people. So as we spoke, we have so many areas to begin. And so what we chose today is to choose to speak about the difference between finite understanding of love and the infinite understanding of love. Because you will hear us use the word love so often in our communications. And if you see that word through the human experiences only and have no awareness of what that word means to us, it is difficult for connection to be made. So when we use a phrase that we see it, understand it very differently than the journey of the human being, we will be able to say this is what it means to us. And so the script of the humans sees and creates with it like this. So we are going to address a bit of what is the difference between finite love and infinite love. No matter what your religious dogma beliefs are, you are taught that you must earn your way back to the place that you were created from. And that requires you to create in certain specific ways. You are taught you are separate from the love that is all things. Human beings refer to what is seen as the source of all, what others will see as God or Goddess, what others will see as Allah, what others will see as Buddha, what others will see in the many ways that they seek to identify that which remains a great mystery for human beings. Because human beings have created the journey of separating from the love that you are. And in the understanding of the love that you are, the love that we speak of is unconditional. There is the knowing, there is the understanding from the spirit side of things that everyone who incarnates into the human reality has chosen to know themselves as something other than being pure absolute love. Absolute love has no judgment. Absolute love does not censor. Absolute love accepts with open arms and embrace of love, no matter what the human has chosen to create. Earth and your finite universe is based on separating from the love that you are. You are a spark of that absolute love. How do we see that absolute love? We see it as a mass of energy, conscious and aware of its own self, desiring to know and express itself. And so, individual seeing and understanding of finite beings were created, and we refer to those beings as spirit. Spirit contained within a bit of a form, and yet is energy moving through and a part of it, and connected to every other spirit, and all connected to the source that they come from. That energy also gave permission in the understanding of what if these spirit beings that I have created that reflect the love that I am, the light that I am, the source of all creation that I am. What if they also got to experience themselves slightly separated? Not dimming the energy, not changing the energy. The same energy in them is found within self. But what if we allowed them to create and to manifest aspects of themselves? And so the spirit would send out energy of itself and create what the human beings understand and know as the soul. Everything generating from this area, in the infinite realm is absolute love and a light that your world truly has no experience of or understanding of. Many humans who have experienced NDEs, the near death experiences, have experienced some of what we speak about. Some also carry into their NDEs their experiences based on what they have learned and what they have embraced in their religious teachings. We are asked all of the time, what about the communications of the religions? We do not see the communications of religions within your world as absolute truth. Everyone has a bit of truth within it, and where it speaks that you are love because you are made of love, and that when you finish this finite experience, you return to that love. And that is how we respond to that question. We do not see anything or anyone within any world as separate from all that is love. We see everyone and everything as part of that, even if the journey into the finite universe, they have chosen to experience themselves opposite of what love is. To us, love is not an emotional state. Love is a state of being. It is what you embrace within yourselves each time that you are stricken wordless in viewing a sunrise or a sunset. A mother comes close to it the first time she looks into the eyes of her newborn child, pure and direct from the realms of love. We will in a later video address some children that are present in your world right now. And so that is something to perhaps look forward to if you have a child that will fit within this. And it is important that that information is brought forward so that those that parent these children, those that later will begin to teach these children, will know how to create with them in a system in the most beneficial way for them to create and to be who they are here to be. So you come from pure absolute love. There is not anything that is not that. And everything manifested in every world stems from the energy, the building block of what is manifested. And when souls began to get sent into the finite universe, different worlds within your universe, consciousness was found there. Life experienced in many different forms. On Earth, the human being evolved. At first, the design of the human being was not what you know it as today. It later became that. What you see now, and your human bodies will continue to evolve and transform as the journey that you are on begins to shift from a reactive to a responsive reality. When you step away from judgment, when you step away from separating yourselves from one another, when you seek to force your beliefs upon another. We always say to a human who embraces a teaching, no matter is it religious, is it spiritual, is it of your own design, is it an acknowledgement within yourself? Perhaps there is no source that you come from. It does not matter what your script is. It matters how you create it, experience it, manifest it, and learn from it. You receive information and knowledge. When this script is applied, this is the result. So, in order to experience who you are not, the energy of your earth, and indeed your entire universe, found it to be necessary that you are creating a duality of energies. Light and dark, love and fear. And for us, fear does not mean you see a spider and you scream and that is fear. Does not mean you are not so willing to embrace a snake that you see it. Some humans love snakes, enjoy snakes, others absolute fear. It does not mean that. It does not mean what you feel if you are pursued and someone's choice is to come after you type of event. Fear, when we speak of it, is anything that is not pure absolute love, is fear. It is a separateness. It is pulling yourself out of the energy of absolute love. If judgment exists within your experience, you are creating in what we term fear. We see the human ego completely fear-based, the many levels of it. And we are speaking at this point with the awareness that many who will be finding this channel, this communication, have already been doing a lot of work on themselves and have gone through the process of understanding what are the scripts you have embraced. Who do you believe and know yourself to be based on your human journey and your experience and what those you co-create with throughout your life have told you you are? And then you work to fulfill that script, right? So if there is a large community that develops here, and there is not a full understanding of how do you work with the human ego states. You don't get rid of it, for one thing. For you to be a physical being, you require that. That is the mass and matter. That is what we refer to as the dark versus the light. And the dark to us does not mean what humans perceive and will speak of as evil. We do not see anything or anyone as evil. We see there is the soul who remembers or the soul who does not. That no matter the role you play in the human journey, you are not able to fully separate from that energy that you come from. And we will go into much more depth of how that process occurs in upcoming communications. So for now, we are going with the awareness that those who have been drawn to this communication have done some work upon themselves, whether through a spiritual embracing journey or through a human therapeutic approach, speaking with other humans in order to process moments of their life that have affected them, whether it is emotional, mental, spiritual, or any other thing that humans create and acknowledge in their lives that affect them, that you have done some work with yourself and you have realized you do not get rid of any part of you. The scripts that you have read and fulfilled throughout your lives have given you experiences of what is it like if I separate and I absolutely forget that I am a soul and spirit that is only able to be pure, absolute, non-judgmental love. Anything you experience in your reality that is not based on pure, absolute love and no judgment, any area that you find it necessary to explain, to justify, to validate your experience of why you embrace the belief that you are speaking of, why you believe the event that you experienced, and so forth. As long as there is that in your language and in your experience, you are coming from the various states of the human ego. We find through the years of communicating with humans that so many of you, including the woman that allows us to access her brain to transmit our thoughts from our world, very easily believed what the world would tell you who you are. And then sometimes that is absolutely fulfilling what your soul chose to come and experience. What would it be like if I entered into life and this is what I experienced? Experienced perhaps never knowing love as the human finite love. The human finite love is based on conditions. And that is why we speak that the human love is conditional. Humans seek others to bring them, to give them what they do not yet know and realize within your own selves. Your world will see that all opposites attract, right? However, what we see as human beings, when you enter into a relationship, whether romantic, friendship, or any other kind of relationship, you are not drawn by what is opposite. You are drawn by similar wounds, similar what we speak of as shadows, moments where life affected you and twisted your perception and understanding of who you are, that told you you are not this, no matter what you believe, you are not this. And perhaps that not this is being told, why don't you just keep your mouth quiet? Because you have nothing to say. You have nothing of importance that anyone wants to hear. And so a child receiving that communication, to be quiet, to be silent, what do you imagine that child's script becomes? That they are worth nothing, that they do not matter to anyone, and that they are to be silent and not to speak of anything that is of their inner self, their vulnerable self. And so that soul that becomes that child begins to create and make manifest that reality. We are going to turn off the sounds of the vessel's phone because we just heard communication. So that while that is occurring, that child now is going to experience what is it like if you enter into a life and from the beginning of your life, you get the message you don't matter. Perhaps as an infant, you are left for hours and hours to cry and to self-soothe. Perhaps your crying is met by frustration and tears and sometimes anger of the parent taking care of you, because the parent has also received the scripts of who they are not. And so a parent that has a soul join them, that they give this child this script that they do not matter. They have nothing of importance to contribute, and they serve the world best by being quiet. Excuse us, to not speak at all unless you were asked the question. The soul experiencing that journey is to be a reminder to the parent who received the same information in their childhood. And from that information, rather than not accepting the script handed, instead use it as a catalyst to stand there and to say, no, this is not the life I choose to live. I matter. And my experiences, my words, my knowledge, my opinion matters. And I have a right to express myself. They are able to choose to accept that script. And then they create more fear, more separation from it. And they will find ways to transform it and evolve it in order to fit the script. So the initial script was, they do not matter. They are not worthy to be heard and do not speak. The parent, by fulfilling that script through their life, has added to it that in order to know that they have worth within themselves, they must diminish anyone else they create with. And there you are able to look in your world and you can see so many examples of humans doing it. Perhaps even yourself does it from time to time. So that they have chosen to use the wounding, the illusion that they are not the pure absolute love and an absolute gift into the physical world. Consciousness of love brought into the finite world in order to remind one another, you are not the role that you play. You do, however, receive the gift of absolute free will when your soul steps down the energy of self to manifest within the finite world, so that you are able to choose. Do you choose to be the villain in your story? Do you choose to be the victim in your story? Do you choose to be the healer in your story? Do you choose to be the one who brings forth the absolute cure of serious illnesses within your world? Do you choose to diminish and tear apart others in order to sustain your ability to find in your own self what you have not received from others, even if it is based on an illusion? And when we use the word illusion, we are not saying that your world and what you experience is not real. It is very real to yourselves creating it. And as we have said often through the years, what would be the point of separating from pure absolute love to enter into the finite universe and get to experience yourself as who you are not, in order to remember ultimately who you are? Why do that if you do not believe the role you are playing? If you do not believe what you receive from your co-actors, your co-creators, you each are drawn to each other based on what you choose to experience and what you choose to make manifest. And for some, they choose to receive so much away from love that when they return to spirit, they find it necessary to remain in the astral planes, the fourth dimension, where you see all your ghosts and goblins and demons and such come from. We see all of that very differently. We see that as a soul who has dimmed enough of a part of itself to experience mass and matter, to experience the human journey, that it has embraced and believed the role so beautifully that when they return to spirit, that part of the soul is not able to be reunited with your full soul, because it holds the energy of fear. It holds the energy of judgment, condemnation, and punishment. It holds the energy of everything that is not love. And so that part of the soul stays in the astral realms and works through the many layers of it. In the first communication video is spoken, right? Your world, your universe is of 12 different levels of consciousness, growth, and awareness and remembrance. The infinite universe is infinite in the number of how many universes exist within it. But the finite universe, we call that the astral universe, or we will say the finite universe, to us is very separate. To know yourself so well that you believe the role you played when you step away from the stage of life, to face not judgment of any being, because you find when you cross into spirit, you step out of the physical life, you experience the human death. That consciousness is energy. Energy continues to grow and evolve. Energy continues to exist and to create and to manifest. You are energy beings, temporarily experiencing mass and matter, energy that brings you the knowledge you create in your world of dense mass and matter. You do not see the continuous movement of the molecules. You do not see the energy that is then you experience manifested as a rose quartz heart. You do not see that because you have agreed to play by the rules that you have set in place to experience who you are not. And when you cross back into spirit, if you believe and embrace that you are going to be judged and condemned by the very one who absolutely loves you, then, child, that is what you experience. Your world speaks of heaven and hell. On a very brief side note, it has taken up until we believe it was last year that we were able to use the word hell in communication from the vessel. We always said Hades. And finally, she relaxed what she would allow us to say. So we return now. So your world, you see heaven and hell. Heaven, a place of wonders, no illness, no sickness, light and music and wonderful creations. Some see it as a physical place. You see hell as a place of condemnation, damnation, and suffering and pain for all eternity. Would you, as a parent, ever condemn your child to a life of absolute suffering and torture if no matter how often you said to them, do not do this, and the child does it? You may be disappointed as the human. You may be upset. You may even be angry. Does it stop your love of your child? And so, the absolute energy of love that you come from, why? Why would that be? And ever keep that love from you? If your child went out on a day and experienced a traumatic moment, a moment in their life that terrorized them and terrified them, and they came running to you to share with you what they just experienced as a mother, as a father, do you not open your arms, embrace your child to you, and reassure that child how much you love them and that you will help them find a way to work through the trauma and the pain they just experienced? And if you, as a human who has chosen to experience itself as being able to create and to bring harm to others, as being able to make choices that would be against love, if you are able to embrace your child in that way, why would the very being who created you in the first place, why would you ever have to feel that you would not be embraced with pure love when you returned from the role you just played. But free will is gifted to all who choose to separate from the pure love and to get to experience yourself as something other than. And even after the physical death is experienced, you still get to choose. Do you return to spirit, step off that stage of life and to, whew, done that life, and all the beings of love who gather to welcome you back home? Celebrate your return home, and we'll give you feedback on how beautifully you played the role you played in the understanding of the finite creation. And if you were able to embrace that and to know that there is no one waiting to judge you, what occurs on the other side of life is the same thing that occurs on the human side. You choose what you receive and what you create by your very thoughts, words, and actions. You choose. Do you experience hell within your life, pain within your life, traumas within your life, diminishment within your life? Or do you not buy that package and instead go through the process of discreating the illusion you have been handed, and instead to begin the journey of remembrance, of healing the wounds inflicted by self and others, and realize heaven is a state of being. Heaven, as humans describe and believe, heaven is found within each human. Each time you choose to not react from your wounds of all your life and all what you perceive as lifetimes. We say it that way because you are working with the finite time. And that is other lessons that will be brought forward. So you see yourself through that understanding. And so you begin to work through it. Is it true? You're able to ask yourself, in this moment, bring to your recall of your mind a script, something you have been told by another that has diminished you, or created in you the belief that you have no value. You do not matter. Bring it forward in your thoughts. And as it comes forward in your thoughts, pay attention to your body. Pay attention to how your body feels. For as you bring a moment that is seen as past within your world present to this moment here and now, your body feels once again what you felt in that moment you experienced that creation. And as you feel that, it now no longer is seen in the measuring of time in your past. It is part of your present. And so whatever you have brought forward in this moment of recollection, ask yourself, is this a truth? Is this who I am? Is this who I choose to be? And if it's not who you choose to be, take the steps to begin to transform it with compassion, with kindness, with patience for yourself who has created so many layers of defense patience, and compassion for the moment you experienced what you experienced. And you begin to remember that's not who you are. You have free will, the gift to choose, no matter what anyone or anything tells you. You choose. You're able to use what has occurred that diminished you, that invalidated you, that made you believe. Once you walk away from this life and you get to the other side, what do you have to look forward to? St. Peter standing there behind the podium, opening the book of life and bringing forth everything that was not love and judging you. No, you review, you see your life with beings of love supporting and embracing you. And you see the areas that here is this script you chose to enter and experience. What if I enter physical life? And what if this is the role I play? And so you review it with beings of love. And in the review, you experience the full ripple of it. You follow through. If you gave your anger to another, you know yourself as the other you gave your anger to. And then you also know yourself in what they did with the anger they received from you. And you observe it and see the effect that when this action, this belief, this choice was chosen by self to create and to make manifest, is like a dropped a pebble in a still body of water. And it creates the ripple, the circles that go out. Others who are co-creating with are also dropping pebbles into the still waters, creating their ripples of cause and effect. This is the choice, and this is the result. This is what was chosen. This is what was manifested and received. And you follow through that ripple until ultimately it reached someone who received the residue of the anger you gave to the initial person you gave it to. And as that energy hits them, instead of reacting, they choose to respond. So they realize in this moment, right here and right now, has anything occurred in my life right now for why I feel this anger rise up in me? And with awareness, able to say truthfully yes or no. If it's yes, then you choose. How do you choose to respond to it? If it is no, nothing has occurred for you to feel the anger. You realize that that was a ripple of someone's choice to give their anger to another. And it has filtered out. And you, as an energy aware and conscious aware being, realizes it's not your anger. However, it is energy of anger. And you have chosen to experience and remembering you are beings of pure divine love, manifesting an experience, a finite experience based on free will, choice, and application, cause and effect. And so that being realizes and remembers that. And so rather than allow that ripple to continue on, they become the point where it stops. And it does not stop with meeting itself at no, you shall not pass type of moment. It transforms by the recognition. The energy of anger was rippling out into the world. And the reason does not matter as much as the awareness You received the ripple of anger. And so instead of judging it, instead of condemning it, instead of allowing the various aspects of the human ego to pick it up and to say, yes, and this matches how I felt one day when, right? And you bring a story of the past here. As that occurs, as that is realized, the realization, you were able to choose something different. And perhaps that human in that moment is rediscovering the energy of love for self and for others without judgment, without condemnation, and without seeking vengeance and revenge and so forth. And so knows and understands within itself when anger begins to raise up, what do you choose to use that energy for? And that being chooses to take some breaths and to balance and bring calm, bring peace in all of their awareness. And so rather than reacting, they have chosen to respond by entering a state of calm and peace. That energy they have manifested now ripples back through everywhere the ripple of anger had rippled out. And so one experience at a time, one transformation at a time, one understanding at a time, you begin to heal the wounds that life has created with you. You begin the wounds of the scripts that you received, whether generated from self or from others. That you are not here in this world to suffer. You are not here to only know pain. There are not those that are more favored by the source of all, by God, by the divine being, however you choose to see that source of energy. One is not chosen above another to be more worthy of the love than another. And the realization that ultimately you as human beings are here to evolve as a race of beings who begin to remember everyone is a reflection of yourself. This is why we have said in the past video even, eavesdrop on every word you speak. Pay attention, comprehend, absorb whatever words you write or type. Eavesdrop on what you set into motion and observe how what you chose to do with what you set in motion, what was the ripple of that. And so that ultimately you realize that no matter what the world shows you, the world of isolation, rejection, separation, judgment, seeks to show you, you realize that every single human being is yourself. And we do understand that not everyone will understand fully what we mean when we say that. It's all right, you don't have to really feel the understanding in the words. As you learn to no longer condemn, judge, and punish your own self through regret, remorse, shame, and blame, as you begin to transform that, you begin to transform that infliction of judgment upon another, that human need, as you experience it, need to diminish another so that you are seen as better than, to hurt another before they hurt you, right? So you know that human has a lifetime to enforce that script. And so compassion You don't have to agree with a choice another makes. Realize and remember, every human is here to fulfill a role they have chosen to play. Until ultimately you realize and you remember you are divine beings of love, and you enter and make manifest who you are without distortions, without separation, without judgment. And it will take generations for human beings to fully transform and evolve with that. It begins with each individual in the moment they become aware. Think of the people that you judge. Think of moments of your own self that you judge the choices you made, the remorse, the blame, the shame, the regret. And so, conditional love is part of the human being. A human to say, I am lonely, and I don't see anyone in my life that wants to be with me. And so they look for another to say they matter. And similar wounds attract. So perhaps their experience, their choice will validate they have no one loving them because they receive love as pain, diminishment, and so forth. So we are aware that oftentimes, whenever we speak, we say, as we did this time, we are going to speak of the difference between finite love and infinite love. We bring forth the knowledge and understanding in ways that are able to be real, able to be applied, able to be experienced within your own life. And so part of that will be we will address different situations, different scripts that humans have picked up and carried and created with. And it will seem that we have forgotten the topic we said we are addressing. And you are able to see and to hear. No, we did not. The layers of love are not able to all be presented at once in your remembrance. You have layers and layers of experiences that have diminished you in one way or another. Experiences you believe. Because again, why would you do it? Why have the experience if you do not believe what you create is real and all that there is to experience? What journey you choose, what path you choose, what wisdoms you choose to apply, I reject. What religious beliefs you embrace. There is no right, there is no wrong, there is choice. And the result either brings you a greater remembrance of love or it doesn't. It either allows you to remember when you leave this physical life, you do not get judged. You do not get condemned to a realm of punishment unless you choose to punish your own self, which means that you have continued to believe something you experienced in your physical world. And so the layers of the astral fourth dimension are experienced from absolute absence of love to full remembrance of love. Allow yourself to reflect. Where have you believed you were choosing love? And what was the end result of it. For some, they do not trust love because their experience of love was the words of love are spoken. Pain, diminishment, judgment, and so forth was what they received. Love may be spoken to say, encourage you to grow, encourage you to experience, only for the result to be that you experience the very things you were afraid would happen, again, because they have happened before. So part of the way that we will be speaking through time with yourselves is we will be addressing the finite view versus how do you view it as infinite, remembering, conscious being. You are not able to walk around this human world fully connected to that absolute remembrance until your bodies evolve and transform. You are, however, able to heal and walk within it often enough that you do not react to opportunities that you were able to react when opposite of love is applied. You do not jump on the stage of judgment. You send compassion. You feel love for that being, and you remember in a moment in time and space what you once reacted to. It's the very things you create and experience in a moment of the measuring of time and experience. And so in this moment, we are choosing at this moment to separate our communication for this part of the experience with yourselves and ourselves. This is long enough at this point, and it also brings into the remembrance one of the areas, the vessel, this woman we connect with, has worry and concern about. In order to be the vessel, to receive the energy of thought we send, requires her to prepare before connection is made, which means she is to take care of whatever shadows she is walking through in the moment, her own self. What has she reacted to in the moment in her life, which dimmed her energy, her frequency? So she is required to work with that, to clear that, to balance it by choice, choosing to work with it if necessary after the communication, not pushing it aside forever, saying, I do make the commitment to take care of that, to listen to what arose in a shadow experienced moment. And so she prepares and she raises her awareness, her energy. She expands within her awareness. She then connects with our energy, which brings to her form, her body, an energy higher in frequency than the cells of her body function. It requires her each time to be willing to work through whatever occurs with her form afterwards. So she is able to continue to raise her ability to connect with us without us diminishing so great the energy we send. As has been spoken previously, she is able to receive 33% of our energy, not able to create 24/7 with that energy. She then afterwards takes care of the body, of herself, of her mind, of the excess of energy that she now has, which for her at this present moment in time, our communication with her, the energy she has to work with the rest of the day, is able to interfere in her ability to sleep. So she is gradually remembering and receiving ways as we communicate to her. It does not have to be a strong physical process for human beings to go through. Choice, free will, and ways to ground that energy so that her body, herself, her mind, her thoughts, her awareness of her reality is based more on this linear moment of time she is choosing to be part of. So we are very grateful for any of you who choose to spend time with us in this way and to listen to what we share into your world. And in time, as the vessel gets a bit more comfortable with this, as this occurs more and more within your world, what you will find is that then she is open to receive deeper layers of communication with those who choose to have that occur and able to be part of Zoom sessions and such. For now, we appreciate very greatly all who have chosen to be part of this with ourselves, the vessel, and everyone who becomes part of this community. Listen as you are able to. Receive and accept what resonates with you. Put aside what does not. There is no right or wrong way to walk your journey. We respect, we honor, and we embrace every individual experience being created by yourselves. Until next time, know that you are absolutely loved, supported, and encouraged to bring healing into yourselves, body, mind, what you perceive as soul, what you perceive as spirit. Know that you are always loved. God's blessings, the blessings of love. Thank you, everyone. I will listen to this so that then I am able to give it a title and a little description. So besides the things Ma-Ryah just spoke about that I do in order to do what I do, also requires me to also listen to what was communicated in order to title it and to give a description. So, and I do it of my choice. Thank you, everyone. I hope to see you return. I hope to see this community grow. And in time, as Ma-Ryah spoke, I will be doing the membership aspect of it. And it's not going to be a lot of money. It's going to be like $5, $10. I haven't decided yet. So when I do, it'll be $5 most likely for you to be part of the membership part. Don't hold me to it because, as I said, I haven't decided fully yet. I keep resonating, though, with the $5 a month. So we'll see what we see. But when that occurs, then what happens is you'll get extra content. You'll get invitation into Zoom interactions. able to not only receive a lesson, also to give feedback, ask questions of Ma-Ryah and Peter. And also Zoom sessions will be offered to those who are members to once a month or so, something like that, will be invited to Zoom so that you can ask your personal questions of them. And for anyone that is interested, are you able to have private appointments and such, so forth? Absolutely. And all of that comes into play and into being. And for right now, thank you for joining me in this moment and for being patient with me as I get comfortable in this new way for me of doing my work. Thank you, and I will see you here very soon.